that you're wrestling to give him. Are you a wise worshiper? Or are you a worker that's trying to get God to move for you? I'm about to leave y'all alone, but the wise men offered these gifts as providence because it provided for a practical seasonal relief for who it was given to. I'm still in point 2, based off of what they gave, because see, remember, these wise men opened up their treasure and they gave it to Mary and Joseph in the presence of worshiping Jesus.
Amen.
Did you catch that? These wise men offered their gifts to a couple who desperately needed them. How many times have we either said or co-signed on, I ain't giving my stuff to them, and then come up with a whole lot of reasons as to why we weren't?
Right.
Now, we could tell that the character of God was in the midst, but we assessed their situation and their season to determine whether or not we were going to get it. It just so happened Mary and Joseph and Jesus were in a farmhouse, in a barn. And the text says that these wise men, these kings, gave gold to 2 broke Negroes. Now, if you wise, that don't seem like a good investment. Looking at the spreadsheet and analyze that now. I know, God, what you're telling me to do, and I can see God in it, but I don't know that that's prudent. I don't know if that's wise.
Yeah, right.
See, now it may not be that. Maybe it was the complete reverse. Oh, they don't need nothing else. They got Jesus. How often and how many times have we acknowledged the outside of a season and kept what we were supposed to sacrifice? It just so happened that in the text, what they provided was a provision that Mary and Joseph needed in order to be a good steward on raising the seed that they came to see. Lord, I got to tell you, I told God I wasn't going to write this portion down because I was going to wait until he moved on me just in case, because I didn't want it to seem manipulative. So I was going to get in the atmosphere and see. But I want you to notice what happens here, because see, this is why when you give out of your surrendered self, and you never worry about where that seed goes.
Amen.
That's not your business. It's not our business. This 2nd chapter in the book of Matthew, the opening book of the New Testament, is a mirror of the very law that God put into place in the Old Testament about what's supposed to come to the house where God is. That belongs to the stewards. Over the seed of your salvation.
Amen.
And it shouldn't make a difference what season they're in. Your obedience is just that. Your obedience, or the lack thereof.
Amen.
And if you saw a move of God, don't get in God's presence and then start negotiating. If you were led by God and you are under the surrender, what will be unto you? Could you imagine? These 2 who found no room in the inn who we've already established over the last couple of weeks, it was only favor that kept them. They were from the hood, but they had potential. And they just needed somebody to believe in their potential and sow until the steward had brought forth the seed to full manifestation. But if God hadn't sent some wise, wealthy folk to them, then Jesus would have been another broke boy story. Let's go to work just for a second.
Amen.
If God hadn't provided these wise men to come in and do what it is that the text says that they did, how would Mary and Joseph have practically struggled raising Jesus? Just think for a second. We all know what a difficult time it is to raise our own.
Right.
But if the truth be told, ain't none of us give birth to Jesus. What would have happened, or how would things have been different if somebody had sown into us at the time of our rearing ours? How much more could we have sown into them, because we wouldn't have had to work at something that was working us? We wouldn't have had to put 40 hours into someone else. We could have put it into... Are you a wise worshiper? Are you following a move of God? Because maybe you're working too hard and it's keeping you out of the place where God really needs you to be, putting seeds where you're supposed to sow them, because there's a seed of Christ in it. But because we're so busy working at what he didn't tell us to do, we're neglecting the Christ that's right there around us. That was 2, right?
Yes.
The wise worship by presenting themselves to him. The wise worship by presenting their gifts to him. But outside of the practical purpose, the wise